be exciting to see what they can get done.
Which also makes you think as well, because they managed to win their region with those circumstances. Now they've had extra time to practice with Envy on the roster. And the America's Cup, one of the factors of it was on home turf, right? And this tournament also on home turf with the fans here chanting for the team might be the boost they need.
Yeah, it very well might be. We'll see, though, because LYON here, obviously inspired, no stranger to the international stage. You're going to know a lot of these players, but LYON was also kind of not really expected to be here, especially if you watch the Swiss stage in the LCS. This team was struggling. They barely even made it into the playoffs of our lock-in tournament. It was actually through, you know, the tiebreaker scenario that they ended up not having to actually, you know, play to even get top 6. But they were struggling early on, and this team completely transformed going into playoffs. They really became, you know, one cohesive unit, playing inspired style and playing, you know, through his shot calling, and they just looked leaps and bounds better.
And now getting to the draft, you see Jarvan, that first pick priority by Loud. It was LYON who went for second pick in this situation. I feel like they put a lot of priority on getting counter pick for Dhokla a lot more this year than we've seen last year, for example. He's had picks like the Vayne and the Varus even coming out. The Yunara being picked up here for Berserker, so someone that does have a dash available to get out of that Cataclysm when needed later. And Inspired going for that Pantheon, a pick that I don't think we've seen as much of it in the LCS compared to other regions. In the LCK, that pick is honestly often perma-banned. So much early pressure, so much global presence as well on the back of that pick.
Yeah, it's definitely still really highly prized in the LCS. It is just often very often banned. Taliyah Pantheon was kind of considered the premier jungle mid lane duo in the LCS, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a potential Taliyah here coming in on 3 for Saint. Ezreal going to be the option alongside Nico. So going for that bot lane, and now I feel like LYON have to decide, do you want to go for the Taliyah combo? Do you want to grab your Lulu here potentially and try to pick for that 2v2? Because probably whichever one you don't go is potentially going to get banned out in this second phase.
Yeah, I think matching bot lane here makes a lot of sense. You could obviously go for a solo lane pickup and then ban away any picks you don't want to deal with. Something to mention is we've only seen the Orianna and the Aurora banned away from mid lane. We obviously saw a lot of the mid lane picks taking down a peg with the patches that came through, but Ryze is something that was still really strong and hasn't really been touched and hasn't been looked at yet. They do just go for that Lulu pairing up really well with the Yunara, and now going to the second rotation, going to be trying to thin out the pools. Cassiopeia immediately coming out as a ban here, so maybe it's LYON want to set up the Ryze. Yeah, exactly. Do they go for maybe the Anivia as well?
Yep. Yeah, and that is interesting because it does kind of broadcast what you're thinking about, so then Loud can obviously respond with a Ryze ban of their own if they so choose. But it's going to be interesting to see how these two teams are going to play it out. LYON is a team that really likes to prioritize gold over objectives. They're willing to give early dragons. They're willing to give early objectives, to trade for plates, to trade for camps, and try to, you know, build a gold lead in that way. Yes, Dhokla got a lot of attention in the TL series for the, you know, the Vayne and the Varus and all these counter picks, but that was more specifically as a strategy to beat TL because they felt like Morgan is the team. So we don't necessarily think we're going to see that from Dhokla here, though Xyno has been a really exciting rookie. If they feel like he's the only problem, they could definitely go for it. They can go for these ranged counter picks and try to just shut him down. But that's a strategy that I think they're only going to go for if they feel like Loud doesn't really have strength elsewhere.
Yeah, I think in this situation, if you get like a strong roam in mid, that mid jungle, you get pressure there, you can send it out to the sides. Either way, it's going to have a lot of power. The Ryze ban does come through, but that Taliyah is still open and available, which is a really strong combo. Do still have the Ahri as an option. In the LCK, you often see Ahri picked into the Taliyah. You can kind of circumvent the Unraveled Earth to play a distance, but I think matchup playable on both sides, to be honest. Expect the mid lane to come through here for LYON and then leave that counter pick for Dhokla.
Yeah, it's definitely what I'm expecting as well, unless they do just want to round it out with something a little bit more straightforward. The Ahri, though, obviously, you know, you talked about as an answer to the Taliyah, but also is a good pairing. Anytime you have point-and-click CC, Charm is easy to follow up. Vi plus Ahri, a common combo, but obviously works very well here with the Pantheon also. And is going to be, you know, that point-and-click CC that you kind of need to lock down someone like the Ezreal to try to burst down this character.
I think also just offers a lot of safety into Nico Jarvan. I think Taliyah can feel, even though the Unraveled Earth helps a bit, can feel a bit uncomfortable to get on top of you. But the Mel coming through, and we saw this on day one. We saw Vikla playing this into Night, and how strong the matchup can be. The Charm, really low value if it can just be reflected at you. So Envy getting a good matchup here. We see the Renekton coming through. There's options like the Gnar, like the Kennen we often see picked into this, but you could just play any range top, to be honest, into the Renekton, or you can go for something a bit more standard like the Scion and just kind of match a bit of a brick wall into it.
Exactly, and I think that's where we're going to start to see, you know, what kind of strategy LYON wants to come in here with. I was expecting that they would just kind of play standard, play meta, that they're not going to be looking for anything too crazy here, so it is going to be about as standard gets. Dhokla will be playing the Gnar here. We've seen this matchup a million times, and I expect LYON to be focusing more on the solo lanes, to be really trying to play towards those. One of the things I know Inspired really values about Berserker as a bot laner is that he generally does not need help. And that's something that he thinks is very valuable, is that he can basically ignore bot lane, and bot lane is going to be even. Bot lane is going to be doing all right. And that is kind of the way that he feels you should be playing the game, is maximizing your own time, your own efficiency, get ahead in camps, get ahead in gold, and then look for those team fights where you can kind of outplay with that advantage.
And I think if you're playing, you know, Yunara, Lulu, and you just go even with this matchup, you're in such a comfortable position. As your Nico, I feel like you need to be winning. You picked this because you want to have the pressure, you want to get ahead in the 2v2.
Exactly, and I feel like Jarvan, there's a little bit of pressure to make things happen as well. Obviously a very explosive ganker. We saw Tatu was kind of running circles around us with the Jarvan at times. And the CB wall, also something that we had talked about at America's Cup, really utilized some level 1 cheeses very, very well. You know, roam straight down to bot lane with the mid laner, trying to get advantages at level 1, you know, clever invades and things that you can do, because a lot of teams had kind of written all those strategies off, thinking, hey, the minions spawn too early, the camps spawn too early, you can't really go for it. But there are still some ways to really be efficient with it, just charge straight in, try to get an advantage, and we saw that a number of times at America's Cup. So I'm going to be really interested to see if Loud tries to take a page out of Furio's book, who had so much success against the LCS at America's Cup.
I mean, it's definitely possible, especially when you have the route set up from the Nico. You know, if you go for something bot lane, you bring Mel in potentially. Looks like they haven't opted to go for this. I think bot lane, you know, we're looking to have that pressure out of Bull and RedBert, but here in the mid lane,
Pantheon's coming, so they're actually looking for this. They're going to start Charm level 1 here. This is what I'm talking about. The level 1 problematic here for Envy. Has to flash, pop a potion already. Saint will pop a potion of his own and is starting Charm, which is, of course, not what you would really love to do. It does delay the start here for Inspired, but not significantly at all. So it's just a nice little look here. They catch him warding a bit deep there, had no coverage, and they are able to get a nice punish at level 1.
I think it's a good start. Oh, seeing aggression in the bot lane as well. Heal bin already from both sides there just to try and push in. Yeah, I think Inspired's early move there, just to get some pressure on Envy. If this lane plays out naturally as the Mel into the RE, the Mel is going to have the edge, so I think disrupting that goes a long way. We see YoungJae, though, going for an invade here into Inspired's jungle. And it looks like he managed to circumvent the vision there.
Check out Warhound Senna. It is live on patch 26.06. A portion of the skin's proceeds will be shared across the LOL eSports teams. So a nice little invade here from YoungJae. We'll see if Inspired was aware of it. We didn't actually catch if he walked across that ward at Raptors.
He flag and dragged over, so I think he circumvented it. But you see the ping coming out at the Raptors, and they just assume, because they haven't seen, like, where is he? You know, something is up, something is different. There is a reason we haven't spotted him, and you see the on-the-way pings coming out. Inspired is like, okay, something is up here, I'm going to push in, and I assume my topside jungle is gone at this point.
Yep, Inspired, very intelligent jungler, is going to be able to make that read. And you could also see Dhokla was aggressively contesting the wave. When you know that you are going to be weak side in those spots, you can't allow them to have a free crash, because if you are under that tower with a minion wave there, they can potentially look for aggressive play. So Inspired going to be out there, will at least get this blue buff, and then will spot YoungJae here. So ends up being, you know, +1 camp for now, stolen away there by YoungJae, as he took both the red, or excuse me, the blue, as well as that Gromp.
Yeah, Saint doing really well in mid lane. Bot lane has Pyro as well, so the support is there for Inspired, but he doesn't want to push too deeply. He's going to back away here, is in position to pick up the Scuttle, though, and is going to be able to mitigate a bit of the camps that were taken away by YoungJae in this situation.
Yep, and we'll see. It should just be, you know, a kind of trade of Scuttles. Inspired, I don't know if he's going to go back in for the Gromp or just kind of go back towards his top side and look for some more clearing. YoungJae is going to be going for that topside Scuttle, so that will be uncontested, but Inspired is crossing. I just don't think he's going to get there in time.
Yeah, no way he gets here, so I think YoungJae pretty happy with how things have panned out. Gets a little scrying vision to see that Inspired Wolves are up, so he sees what he's going to, has a good idea of where the Pantheon's going to be. I think especially into a pick with so much early pressure, the point-and-click CC, the execute damage, knowing where he is, really important, and Bull not having a good time. Sorry, not Bull. well, Bull and RedBert in the bot lane not having a good time in this 2v2 matchup.
No, not at all, and that is kind of concerning here. Look at Saint there. Just throws the charm to the side, knowing that the reflect will be used. So as soon as that charm's coming out, Envy hits the reflect. But Saint had just fired it off to the side because, of course, it's not just that it's mitigated, it's that it's fired back at you, which can then set up for an easy route there for the Mel, which makes this matchup very difficult in the 1v1. Inspired here now, looking for a potential gank. Does have his flash available. No flash there for Envy. There's the flash, the stun, the charm. Envy's got nowhere to go. Inspired takes his just rewards. No first blood for you, Saint. It's going to Inspired.
Great setup there, though, from the mid-jungle of LYON. They knew they had the flash down familiar. And if you get the stun from the Pantheon Fist, no chance to use the reflect for the charm. Really easy pickup there and a really easy first blood secure.
Yeah, this is absolute comfort right now for LYON. Berserker, though, could be in some potential trouble here. They are going to spot YoungJae. Misses on the flag and drag. They do get the early flash out of Lions, though. It was, traded there. Isles flash for RedBert, so going to be able to trade those flashes at the very least, but LYON is looking really good. Almost up, 800 gold at this point. Berserker ahead in CS in this matchup that is going to be so powerful later on. They're scaling up really well. Mid lane's going great. Inspired in comfort zone, and Dhokla's just kind of doing his thing, chilling in topside.
I think it feels pretty bad for Loud so far. The fact that bot lane is struggling a bit. I think playing into the likes of a Lulu Yunara, if they get wave access, they can stack up that passive and you're not landing your skill shots. This is kind of how the lane can pan out. The poke from the Nico, the poke from the Ezreal, if you're connecting, you should be in a good position. But it appears with how it's played out, it just hasn't really been hitting. And now RedBert looking for a gank, doesn't manage to connect there though.
Yeah, RedBert does look for the angle. Have a little bit of time, so go
panning out.
It's going to be a pretty even game now at this point. Just a couple hundred gold separating LYON from Loud. So not a big deal at all. It really comes down more to the compositions, the setups from the team fights here. And LYON is kind of taking that atypical situation for them where they're actually the ones that are getting the early dragons, that are looking to stack those objectives. Whereas Loud has been the one more focusing towards topside, and it is kind of that reversal of roles from what we expect from LYON.
I think also if LYON is getting those early dragons, we've seen them a lot of times willing to hand over dragons if they feel like they're not in the best position to fight. If you have a composition where you have Yunara, Lulu, and you have early dragons picked up, they're going to be patient and not feel pressure at all and not feel obliged to fight when Loud has a good setup.
Yeah, absolutely. You can take those first two dragons and you can say, great, you have to contest us at the third. We don't have to show up. We can just take a tower top. We can continue to scale, wait for Berserker to get more and more items, and depend upon his strength in those team fights. And it may be exactly what they look for here. As LYON, their bot lane doing kind of exactly what I said. This is kind of what they count on, what Inspired counts on from Berserker is for him to be put in any matchup and do well and just kind of go for, even farming lane where he is not drawn down there unless he thinks it is a good move for him and for the game.
Yeah, I mean, even the fact that there was the gank down there earlier, Owl's bin, his flash was very respectful with that. It's back up again, so wasn't really anything coming from that. Inspired just continuing to find value, but now we're seeing a big collapse come through. Jungler coming, mid lane coming, looking to see if they can find something more. And Inspired isn't close enough to ult right now.
No, he's definitely not close enough to ult. Saint is not moving, but Envy is heading back towards the mid lane. Berserker takes a chunk of damage. Isles is aware that this dive could be coming in here.
Yeah, Berserker actually ulted early to help clear the wave. So good heads up play there just to mitigate the dive, thin the wave out early. And it feels like all that pressure just negated. Now, Inspired has reset. He's now close enough to ult in, and the play's been negated.
And Saint is even the one moving down, because Saint stayed mid while Envy was roaming. He was the one actually pushing in that wave. Now he gets prio, clears out a ward, is going to just move back towards mid lane now. Well handled there by LYON. As you said, Berserker pops Transcend oneself, is going to be able to clear out that wave, and everything is diffused, just keeping it a nice, calm game. The question is who is going to come out on top in the team fights? Because this is a game with two teams that like to play slow pace, are very comfortable in this game state, really on both sides.
Yeah, and I think Loud, you can definitely see with that comp, they are trying to make things happen a bit more, but they're being very respectful, very patient. It is their first game of the tournament, and you can see that they don't want to make that big overstep, but they are going now.
Yeah, here comes the Grand Starfall. The charm is not going to land. The Pop Blossom coming in. It's not going to land on anyone either as Saint gets the resets going forward. They're able to take down Envy. Inspired here with a great first ultimate. They had Isles in their back pocket and are able to kill off Envy. and no response really from Loud.
Not sure exactly how that play started, but Envy pushed up pretty deep there. And I feel like the thing is, the Mel into the Ahri feels great, but the Pantheon just feels so frustrating with the fact he can ult down on top of you. You don't have that mobility. The stun connects, and you end up suffering. We'll see the replay here. Yet it's pretty overextended. Ends up being a ult in from Inspired, flash stun. There's just not much you can do against that, and the attempted counterplay that comes out from Loud, really not finding anything as well.
Yeah, he kind of had that false sense of security because RedBert was there with him and YoungJae was walking up mid lane, so he's thinking, okay, yeah, we see their support, but my support's here too, my jungler's coming, but it was LYON who kind of just preempted the play, and Dhokla, despite dying once on this redive, is dead even with Xyno, so no advantage up there. It is a comfortable game here for LYON. We'll see if there's going to be a fight at this next dragon. It has been LYON getting all of the objectives thus far. They got all 3 grubs. They got that first dragon. They've held on the bot side and are looking very comfortable so far.
Yeah, we do see right now there's a decent amount of vision for the side of LYON around the dragon area, but currently YoungJae's moving in, clearing it out.
Ooh,
there's pings coming out, heavy pings coming out. Oh, Xyno's in trouble.
Yeah, Xyno in a lot of trouble here. Dhokla gonna go forward. He flashes, but Dhokla trying to chase in. Gets him with the boomerang. It's a solo bolo. You may take me down with your jungler, but I don't need one.
Just a great angle there found by Dhokla, able to take down the opposing top lane, and Xyno, who's been so hyped in the CB lol as a strong laner, someone who really likes to take the challenge to his opponents, being taken down game 1 by his opposition.
Yeah, Inspired here, now going to get engaged on. Nice Aegis Assault blocks all the damage. Bull's getting pushed out, polymorphed and knocked back here by Berserker. In comes Envy. The True Shot Barrage is going to land on the Isles. Inspired standing, Inspired fighting. The charm goes wide, but Envy is knocked down. It's a double for Saint. He's looking for a triple. He wants to take down Bull. The barrier will buy some time, but in comes Berserker, and down goes Bull. LYON send Loud packing. They crush the fight.
They get everything they want and more. Solo kill in the top lane, and in the fight they get such a huge cleanup. RedBert, you're in a lot of trouble there. I don't think he's going to have the damage to finish him off.
He might. The polymorph comes in to buy a little bit of time. Isles trying to kite out, staying out of vision, but now Saint is here, and Saint is looking for a freebie, and he's going to be able to get it. RedBert has got nowhere to go. It's another kill for Saint. It's a 1.5k gold lead for him, a dragon for LYON. And it's them in full control of this game.
And you see here, Loud try to go in and uninspired, but it's a Pantheon. He can mitigate so much damage. He dodges away for the flag and drag. They do back away initially to give some space, but again, this committal in. YoungJae's so low, and it gives that initial, it's not even a reset for Saint. He hasn't popped his ult yet, but he dives forward and just starts getting this cleanup potential. Not much Bull can do in this situation, and it feels like LYON were just waiting to pounce on their opponents, and they crushed them there. Look how hype Dhokla is.
Yeah, Dhokla feeling really good. That was just beautifully played by Inspired. Small little movements, but sidestepped perfectly on the flag and drag. Times the Aegis Assault perfectly as well there with that Pop Blossom landing. You can see the CB LOL versus LCS all-time head-to-head. It is 38-20 in games, but 2026 has not looked as good, and it's not looking as good for Envy now as another kill going the way of LYON. Berserker on fire. LYON are cruising. It's nearly a 5,000 gold lead here at 15 minutes, but Loud going to try to get something back. Stun comes in. Pop Blossom there to follow, but it's a great gnar back from Dhokla. Knocks him away.
God,
he's taunting him. He's taunting him, and YoungJae, he wishes he had some help on the bot side because he's going to get killed off in his own jungle. And Loud now looking for more here, trying to chase in after Dhokla. Did Dhokla get a little bit too confident? They're not going to go for the play. They know that Pantheon could be coming. He has that ulti ready to respond. And Dhokla just making fun of him, and in comes the Grand Starfall, and down goes RedBert.
Oh, the
LYON can do nothing wrong. Xyno is running for the hills, but he's got no flash. The slice will be back up. Inspired still chasing. He wants this kill. Going to be able to tank it up there for Dhokla. Dhokla looking to try to finish him off. Xyno's got nowhere to go, and LYON can do no wrong in game 1.
Just feels like they're getting everything they want. Loud try and go for a counterplay, and Dhokla is laughing in their faces. This is pretty brutal at this point. It's a 6,500 gold lead. We've said that LYON don't take fights they don't need to. If they think we don't have the right setup, we don't have to go for this. I haven't seen that from them at all this game. It feels like the setup has always been right for them to take these opportunities, and right now they're just crushing Loud into the dirt.
They are absolutely destroying them. When we saw earlier in that Coinbase gold grind, they had already created somewhat of an advantage. That has now exploded since then. And this game is already looking somewhat out of reach here for Loud, but let's see if they can find a play down onto Saint. YoungJae gonna look here. A beautiful charm, well-timed. The Cataclysm comes down, but for what? As Saint's cooldowns are so low on that ultimate here. He's gonna be able to trade the Spirit Rush. Berserker just running in after Bull. That tower is not yours, buddy.
I feel like when you're collapsing onto an Ahri in the side lane who still has a T1 tower up.
Desperation hours.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling. The charm was pretty great as well, just to add insult to injury. And now Berserker, he's feeling himself. He's hyped. He's stepping up in their faces, getting damage down. Does take the root, but he just doesn't seem bothered at all. He has Mikhails to back him up as well.
I mean, he's a full item up. Like, look at the itemization. He's 2.4K ahead individually.
Yeah.
We're at 17 minutes, and he's a full item ahead of Bull.
Yeah, and it feels so bad with Ezreal, where that 2-item spike really is where you want to have that point of strength. By the time he gets to it, is Berserker going to have 3 items? Maybe.
Probably.
You know, at this point, it's looking that way.
It is definitely looking that way, as Xyno able to defend that top lane tower, at least for now. Berserker just constantly pushing in these waves, harassing down the Loud bot lane. Envy is around, but he is warded out. They really can't get anything. You can see Inspired is waiting in the wings here. Xyno going to look aggressively on Dhokla once again. YoungJae and Xyno constantly going up here, but Dhokla is just handling this like the weak side king he is, and now going aggressive, chasing after them. Loud knows they need to try to force plays, but just nothing is working.
Yeah, I think at this point, it is just, you see them constantly looking for plays. It's not even the wrong approach. You have to try and find something, but it is starting to feel a bit desperate.
YoungJae is coming. They're going for it again, but this time Inspired is running up the river. He can respond with the ulti. A teleport coming in.
Oh, no.
And I think the Grand Starfall is probably coming as well, but it's another solo for Dhokla. He doesn't even need him, but he's got the help, and Saint's going to force a flash, knock down a tower. Another play going the way of LYON.
Just feels like nothing can go wrong. Dhokla gets the solo kill, but the Ahri was there. The Pantheon was there too, just in case something more came from this.
A little drive-by high five. Good hustle there, you know.
Good work, top laner. You know, you got it in you. We're here to show up occasionally. And I think at this point, Loud, I don't see the angle.
No,
I think you're looking at game 2.
It's time to think about game 2, I think, if you are Loud. Try to shake this one off a bit. It was even for a while, but it is crazy to see an 8.5K gold lead pre-19 minutes.
You know?
Plus every objective, every single objective has gone the way of LYON.
There was a stat that we were talking about with LYON, the combined kills per minute. They're extremely low. I don't think this game is going to change it too much, because combined kills per minute. And Loud, they don't have many kills. So
no, that's true.
I'm not going to change that stat too much at this point. Almost at 9,000 gold lead. Going to be picking up that third dragon as well. It's an Ocean Soul. That's, I mean, it's not too much of a silver lining, but not the most meaningful soul. So Loud not too concerned about that being stacked up. They've got a lot of concerns. That's probably low in the totem pole.
Exactly. 99 problems, but an Ocean Soul ain't one. Yet.
Yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a perfect game, but honestly, it's not that far off thus far. It is just the 2 kills. There are no objectives on their side really whatsoever. As Dhokla, this is a player who has had, you know, a pretty tumultuous history. You know, he obviously won the LCS with Energy. They got to quarterfinals. He had this really big performance at Worlds, but then they had a really kind of a struggle that next year. He ended up getting 6th in 2024 summer. He ended up, you know, not even having a team, then joining 100 Thieves as a coach. Then from there, he ends up in this spot where he's ending up, you know, just subbing in for his top laner. He was playing in Tier 2. When he swaps in for General Sniper, they end up getting 3rd in LTA. They go to Worlds. He looks good again. And then everyone's thinking, oh my God, this guy's great. He's going to end up on a top team. Well, he had no team planned again at the start of this year.
That's the thing I found the craziest. You know, obviously you are much closer to the LCS than I am, but I was so shocked that Dhokla didn't immediately end up on a team based on what we saw from him at Worlds in terms of branding and in terms of performance. But yeah, I mean, he's showing again what he can do, that he's just so good at performing under pressure when it comes to these big stages.
And, you know, my understanding is that he did have some offers, but only from bottom teams, which he wasn't really interested in. And Zamudo was the intended starting top laner for LYON. Unfortunately for him, he has been plagued by visa issues. He was supposed to play for them last year as well. They couldn't get a visa for Xyno, and Xyno's misfortune became, the fortunate for Dhokla, as that gave him an opportunity on a very good squad, where he has once again been able to deliver. But I think, you talked about it. He is a clutch player. He shows up in these big moments because his start to the year was not good either. He was really looking out of form, but in playoffs looked really, really good. Got a lot of attention with these flex picks that they were pulling off, with these range top laners that they were pulling off, and has looked fantastic so far here in the first game of Lion at first stand, as Xyno going to look for him again. Everyone coming up here from Lao, but Dokla's going forward. He looks for another solo kill. Bull now coming in, as is YoungJae, as is RedBert. They are sending the entire squad. Dokla says, all right, you're going to get me this time. Ults the wave, tries to get most of the minions, but look at where the rest of the map is. It's the tier 2 mid getting knocked down. It's Saint unanswered on the bot side.
And it's inspired on his Raptors. He's still clearing the jungle. He's got his priorities in order.
That's a jungler right there.
Absolutely. He knows what he's... I mean, he's got a big farm lead still in this game.
Which is the better camp, top laner or Raptors?
I mean, that's very true. I can't disagree.
There's multiple Raptors. There's only one top laner. There is only one Saint, and he might be dying, getting CC'd up, but has the Spirit Rush, lives through the burst coming down. RedBert spends the heal, spends the ulti, but they can't finish him off there. Has the Merc Treads to get out of CC and just Spirit Rush to safety once again.
I think it's good pickups, right, that they got that kill onto Dhokla, and they're trying to get on a Saint. The problem is they're not getting too much in terms of resources, in terms of summoner spells.
And Berserker is just a beast at this point. Pushes YoungJae back, no problem. The experience advantages are also getting pretty big. You're looking down across the board. It's multiple levels in some roles. But even, at its closest, it is like an entire level down in the ADC. I mean, Bull's about to hit 13. Berserker just hit 14. Saint is almost a full level ahead. Inspired is over a full level of experience ahead. And Lion can do no wrong.
At this point, Loud, they want to find a big engage, get onto the right target, but, summoners available for every member of Lion. All the flashes there. You have Mikhail's for Berserker. Berserker has that Infinity Edge coming in. 3 items to 2 in comparison to Bull. It's really hard to see you winning a fight where everyone on the enemy team, you go for that big engage from the Nico, from the Jarvan, and they just flash out of it. And then they just one-shot you with the damage.
Yeah, no one can stop Dhokla. I mean, they focused all of their time on trying to put Dhokla down, and Dhokla is getting multiple solo kills. He's 2-2-2, but right now I feel like he's the one that has most impressed me in this first game from Lion, because he was getting constantly attacked, not getting any help, and able to find multiple solo kills, able to win his matchup heavily, has drawn so much pressure in the side lanes. It's not an impressive score, but it is an impressive performance here from Dhokla.
Unfortunately for Loud, he does respawn, so even though they put 4 members top to kill him, he's back bot lane, putting the pressure on again. Herald comes down, puts some more pressure on the mid lane tower, and it just feels like Loud are trapped just at the limit of whatever towers they have up and available, and can't really get a look outside of that.
And they have no vision. I mean, look at their wards, right? There's just nothing on the map on that bot side, where Soul is going to be up here in 10 seconds about there for Lion, and that is going to make things even more difficult.
Okay, they are venturing out. They're like, okay, maybe this is our time to risk it all. Oh, Dokla's in Mega.
Dhokla is in Mega here. We'll see if they can try to find an angle. Dhokla will have that expire, but is going to just try to push Xyno back now. Going to be looking for an angle as YoungJae goes forward, but Inspired happy to take that challenge. The ulti from Xyno has already been forced, and Dhokla is just taking the 1v1. Loud trying to reinforce as quickly as they can, but it might be too little, it might be too late. Envy going to get found on the side as well. Pop Blossom coming in here from RedBert is going to be landed, but the Cataclysm gets flashed away from, and in comes Saint with the Spirit Rush. He's taking them down one after another. Berserker flashes over the wall. He's going to be able to finish off Bull. Everyone from Loud is falling. The base is going to be crumbling. They're pinging on to the Dragon. They want the Soul.
Might actually move towards the Baron first. Loud try and make something happen. They can't even take out Dhokla. They get his flash. They get a decent amount of summoners, but the damages are now. Now they'll look for Dhokla. Yeah,
they're going to go for it. Xyno and Envy do arrive behind him. That is double TP committed. Dhokla hits him with the thumbs up. He just wants to go for the wave. Xyno going to be able to finish him off, no problem. You have to think good Gnar to knock him back, but surely he cannot get away. The Golden Eclipse will finish the kill here for Envy. They get something, but the prize is that much greater for Lion on the other side of the map.
Yeah, and you saw the angle when it came to the fight where it looked like maybe they'd be able to catch Dhokla initially. They do get him in the end result. But I mean, just the fact Dhokla can face tank Xyno in this situation, it seems like he's just not taking damage. RedBert, though, finds his angle onto him, gets him, but he still has his flash available. And this is what I mean. They go for the engage, he flashes out. You lose all momentum in the fight. And then, honestly, Loud, they're getting chased down. They're lucky that Envy survives, because if Envy goes down, you get another reset. Maybe you're losing even more members in that situation.
Ooh, we gotta go back to live. Louder trying to rush this. Inspired is in the back of the pit. I don't think they realize that he is there, and now he's gonna reveal himself. YoungJae goes in onto him immediately. Nice Aegis Assault there to block some damage to buy some time. Berserker pushing Xyno back. YoungJae's gonna go in. The Pop Blossom on the side only catches Isles, and he has the Mikhails, and Berserker has the damage. They're focusing down the soul. Gonna be able to claim it surely here, as Envy on the side will fall as well. It's only Xyno standing. It's a triple for Berserker. It's a dominant win there, as the priceless moment of the game, the Dragon Soul is claimed, and LYON looks to be claiming the Nexus shortly after.
Just too far behind, trying to find the angle in there. But unfortunately, LYON just too crisp this game. Xyno may be able to survive longer than the Nexus. We'll see.
He's going to run for it. Dhokla trying to chase after him, but even if he gets away, the Nexus can't run. It's got nowhere to go, as the LYON members pushing forward here, looking to claim a dominant game number one. 27 minutes in, a 16,000 gold lead, and they want more. Trying to pick up some kills here before they finish the Nexus, but the Nexus falls. LYON claim game number one.
Just a super clean performance from LYON in this one. Didn't really put any steps wrong throughout that game.
Very impressive stuff. Really the only thing I can think to nitpick was that one death from Saint. You know, got a little careless in mid lane. Inspired was everywhere. They played incredibly well here. Spam chat now for your player of the game. I'm going to vote for Dhokla. I thought this guy really changed the game with how he played weak side. Lounge, what do you think?
Classic top lane response from Azael right there. I voted for Inspired with the way he took over the early game. And also, I thought Gen G was done playing. That looked like a clean game.
Get out of here.
Yeah, man.